Hey, adventurers! Welcome back to our channel, where imagination meets animation and every click brings you closer to fun. Today, we're diving head first into a brand new episode of our animated series, BlizzyandTorta. And if you're not already part of our crew, consider subscribing so you never miss an exciting adventure. In today's episode, we find Blizzy the cartoon penguin and his pal, Torta the turtle, getting ready for the annual Arctic Snowball Showdown. It's gonna be epic. Now, if you want to join us on our creative journey, don't forget to leave a like. Your support means everything to us. Let's dive right in. In the frosty heart of the Arctic, where snowdrifts glitter under a pale winter sun and the air hums with the chatter of ice-crusted wildlife, Blizzy, the cartoon penguin, his red scarf flapping like a flag of mischief, drags Torta, the cool-as-ice turtle, sporting sunglasses and a knit beanie, to a sprawling ice field. The duo weaves through a lively crowd of polar bears, seals and puffins perched on icy bleachers, waving banners made of frozen kelp. The scene is electric, with anticipation for the Arctic Snowball Showdown, a legendary event that tests the mettle of even the iciest of competitors. Up ahead, Blizzy, eyes gleaming with competitive spirit, can't help but boast about his snowball-slinging skills honed from years of pelting icebergs, all while dodging the playful nips of passing penguins. "Just watch, Torta," he says with a wink. "I'll wipe the snow off the field with those flat-footed flippers." Torta, however, yawning and sipping hot cocoa from a thermos tucked in his shell, seems less than impressed. He murmurs something about a cozy nap under a snowbank. But Blizzy, lost in his own excitement, doesn't hear him. He bounces on his flippers, eager for the showdown to begin. The commotion grows louder as they approach the main arena. And there, silhouetted against the blinding white expanse, stands a huddle of familiar faces. At their center, a sleek, smug seal with a bandit mask and a mischievous glint in his eye, none other than Slipper, the infamous trickster of the Arctic Ocean. His three accomplices, equally sly, are molding snow into perfect spheres, their flippers moving with practiced precision. Slipper catches sight of Blizzy and Torta and breaks into a wide grin, revealing a mouth full of sharp teeth. Well, look what the tide brought in. Blizzy and Torta, just in time to witness our victory. As the polar bear referee, sporting a scarf knitted from icicles, blows a whistle that echoes across the tundra, the crowd falls silent. The rules are simple. The last animal standing wins the coveted Snowflake Trophy, a delicate prize that sparkles like a captured aurora. But don't let its beauty fool you. Winning this showdown is harder than navigating an iceberg field in a blizzard. The competition is fierce and the thirst for victory legendary. Blizzy, pumped, scoops up snow and molds a perfect snowball, while Torta lazily pats one together, accidentally dropping his cocoa, which splashes a nearby puffin, who squawks and flops dramatically, setting the crowd roaring with laughter. With a blast of the whistle, the fight begins and Blizzy dives behind a snow mound, hurling snowballs with wild spins, shouting, "Eat snow, seals." Torta, ever the strategist, lobs a single, wobbly snowball that arcs through the air and smacks a seal's flipper, sparking cheers and a seal's indignant hey. From his vantage point, Blizzy watches, amusement dancing in his eyes. This is gonna be a piece of cake, he thinks. But as the seconds tick by, he notices a change in Slipper's demeanor. The smug grin has vanished, replaced by a steely focus. Before Blizzy can sound the alarm, the seals launch a counterattack, their snowballs flying like a blizzard. One hits Blizzy's scarf, sending him tumbling backward into a snowbank with a poof, his flippers flailing as he mutters, "Not my best look." Torta, though, remains unfazed. He spins his shell like a shield, deflecting a barrage of snowballs with a series of clunks. But one misstep sends him sliding into an ice sculpture of a fish, which shatters with a crash, scattering shards that make the crowd gasp and a polar bear drop his fish snack in shock. Blizzy pops out of the snowbank, his scarf askew, and rallies Torta, shouting, "We gotta build a fort, buddy." They scramble to pile snow into a wobbly fort. Blizzy slapping snowballs together with manic energy while Torta, ever chill, adds one brick at a time. Suddenly, Slipper leaps onto a nearby ice ridge, a triumphant smirk on his face. Pathetic, he taunts, "Turtle, you throw like a glacier." But Blizzy isn't listening. He's found a discarded harpoon gun and is taking aim. "Oh, yeah," he says, loading a snowball. "We'll see about that." The crowd gasps as Blizzy fires. The harpoon gun blasts a hole in the seal's fort, showering them in glittering ice shards. They scatter, slipping and sliding in a panic as Slipper swears under his breath, realizing his team is on the brink of defeat. An idea sparks in his eye. He whistles sharply and the seals regroup, their flippers molding snowballs with military precision. Slipper barks orders, and they quickly fashion a catapult from ice and driftwood. It's their last chance for a comeback, and the stakes are high. The crowd watches, hushed and expectant, as the seals load a giant snowball onto the catapult. It's bigger than an igloo, heavy and fast. The polar bear referee looks grave, knowing that whoever gets hit next might not get up. The crowd holds its breath as the snowball hurtles through the air. Will Blizzy and Torta stand their ground, or will they run for cover? Stay tuned to find out as we continue our adventure in Part 2. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Back on the ice field, Blizzy and Torta brace for impact. Torta, his shell glowing faintly, prepares to unleash his unique Arctic magic. Meanwhile, Blizzy, clutching the harpoon gun, surveys the scene, a strategic glint in his eye. He knows that their biggest challenge isn't the oncoming snowball, but rather the elusive Slipper, who's nowhere to be seen. Slipper, hidden on an ice ridge, watches intently, his whiskers twitching with anticipation. When the coast is clear, he plans to sneak past the defenses and score a winning hit on the unsuspecting duo. As the gigantic snowball thunders toward them, Torta bellows, "Now, Blizzy, it's our secret weapon time." Understanding the gravity of the situation, Blizzy dives behind the flimsy fort, pulling Torta down with him just as the snowball crashes into their hiding spot, causing it to crumble and reveal to bewildered penguins and a turtle. The crowd gasps, convinced the fight is over, but Blizzy and Torta pop out of the snowdrift, unscathed and grinning from ear to ear. The polar bear referee, his eyes wide with surprise, blows his whistle and announces, "What a close call." But the battle continues. Blizzy, wiping snow off his glasses, turns to Torta, who's humming a mysterious tune. The faint glow from Torta's shell has intensified, bathing the surrounding area in a mystical light. With a mischievous grin, Blizzy says, "Looks like Slipper won't be able to ambush us again." "Thanks, Torta." As Slipper watches from afar, a surge of anger and frustration builds within him. Unable to believe his plan has been thwarted, he vows to defeat them in a one-on-one showdown. Just then, the other seals appear, battered and bruised, but determined to help their leader. They form a tight circle around Slipper, creating a barrier of bodies that blocks Blizzy and Torta's view. Slipper, seizing the opportunity, uses the distraction to sneak behind the makeshift wall and formulate a new plan. Meanwhile, Blizzy, sensing something is amiss, motions for Torta to follow him as they cautiously approach the seal barrier. As the crowd watches with bated breath, Slipper emerges from the other side of the crowd, his eyes narrowed with determination. He lets out a loud bark, startling everyone, and points directly at Torta. "You're finished, Turtle," he sneers, readying a snowball for the final blow. The crowd gasps as the snowball hurtles toward Torta, who stands frozen in place, unable to react in time. But just before the impact, his shell bursts into a brilliant white light, enveloping Slipper and his team in a magical aura. The light fades, revealing a transformed scene. The seals are all wearing Santa hats and carrying presents, looking more like holiday helpers than Arctic warriors. Confused and disoriented, they drop their snowballs and exchange puzzled glances. Slipper, his whiskers drooping in defeat, slumps to the ground, admitting that he's had enough of the game. With the fight over, the polar bear referee steps forward to announce the winner. But before he can make the announcement, a flock of puffins swoops down from the sky, each carrying a piece of the shattered Snowflake Trophy. They present the fragments to Blizzy and Torta, declaring that the trophy belongs to both of them. The crowd cheers, and Blizzy and Torta stand together, basking in the glow of their hard-earned victory. As the sun begins to set, painting the Arctic sky in hues of orange and purple, the animals gather together to celebrate their bravery and sportsmanship. Blizzy and Torta, their bond strengthened by the day's events, share a knowing smile, ready to face whatever challenges come their way together. And so, the tale of the Arctic Snowball Showdown becomes a legend, passed down through generations of Arctic wildlife, reminding them all that true friendship and courage can conquer any obstacle. The end.